Wyoming Senator John Barrasso joins me now, who serves on the Foreign Relations Committee, fourth-ranking Republican in the leadership. Senator Barrasso, the horror of what's happened in Paris has certainly galvanized all intelligence, counterterrorist experts around the world, especially here in the United States. The president right now meeting with the vice president and the Secretary of State in the Oval Office. We're going to be hearing from him shortly. What do you think needs to be done from an American perspective, not only to show solidarity with our colleagues in France, but also to make sure that our facilities around the world are well protected?
Yeah, well, you're right, Andrea. You know, our thoughts and prayers here on Capitol Hill go out to the families and the victims and then all of the people of France. I thought that the Secretary of State, John Kerry, did a wonderful job expressing that. But let us face this is an attack not just on France, but on our values, on freedom of the press, on freedom of speech. And while we don't know exactly who did this, I believe in France they will capture these individuals, and we will find out whether they are through ISIS, whether they've been already in the fight in Syria and Iraq, and then have returned home to France or assigned to do this sort of thing. And you're right about our embassies around the world and the susceptibility there. We've lost 4 brave Americans a few years ago in an attack on a U.S. Embassy. We know how important it is, but obviously this comes down to intelligence, interrogating those, and trying to find those who are the attackers before they attack us.
As the Republicans now take over the Senate, do you think there will be any change in policy in terms of counterterrorism, financing for either the Department of National Intelligence? I guess they've had as much money as in a bipartisan fashion. This is not something that has broken down along political lines, has it?
No, there has been a commitment to financing and funding the Homeland Security component of this and protecting the people of the United States. Of course, I have concerns with the president's recent ruling on executive amnesty and the resources that are going to be spent hiring. It's been reported 1,000 individuals, $40 million reported to be spent to fund them so that they can give out work permits to people who are here illegally. I think those resources ought to be focused on American security, protecting our own. The other issue is that of Guantanamo Bay. The president talks about wanting to close it down. They have been releasing, I think, about 27 different detainees over the last year. We know that when detainees are released, a significant number go back into the fight against us, and I think those things need to be examined in a way different than what the administration has been proposing.
Do you really think that the immigration issue connects to this?
Well, I think to talk about funding of Homeland Security, and we will once again be doing the discussion and the debate on funding the Department of Homeland Security. It's a matter of how those resources, and there have been adequate resources, I believe, how those resources are actually spent and where they're focused.
I wanted to play a little bit of a comment just made here in New York in a speech by the FBI Director, James Comey. Let's watch.
Heart goes out to the people of France and Paris this morning. We are thinking of them. We have at the FBI a very close relationship with our partners in the French law enforcement and counterterrorism communities. We are working with them. We will do everything we can to help them bring to justice the perpetrators of the atrocity that happened in Paris earlier today. So we're thinking of our friends and partners in Paris.
Senator Barrasso, one of the challenges for the French counterintelligence experts is that these individuals apparently spoke fluent, unaccented French. There is a very easy way for people to get from the Middle East, from the Syrian civil war to Europe and back. That's a particular challenge that Europe faces more so than we do.
Well, you're absolutely right. We know that there have been thousands who have gone from Europe pretty easily into the fight in ISIS, with ISIS in Iraq, in Syria. When you take a look at those beheadings of the American hostages, that seemed to be a British accent, well-spoken, so easily returning back to their home countries, and then either directed or self-directed to pull off acts of violence, which is why from the standpoint of the terrorism attacks on people all around the world, we have to be forever vigilant and continue with the intelligence gathering, and once someone is captured, the interrogation to get as much information as possible to make sure that we can prevent additional attacks in the future.
And Senator Barrasso, finally, do you think that we are doing as much as we can with our allies in the Persian Gulf, our allies against ISIS, to stop them from other parts of either their government or their elites from supporting some of these terror groups? Well, I'm speaking particularly of Qatar.
Well, I was actually in the Persian Gulf and in Qatar earlier this year, actually at Thanksgiving, with our Wyoming National Guard. Spent Thanksgiving with them and looked at the control areas there for where there are commanding the overflights in Iraq and regarding ISIS, as well as flights over Afghanistan. We are working in a collaborative way with the countries in that area. You know, Qatar is where they had the 5 detainees from Guantanamo released there in exchange for bird oil when that all happened, and there were concerns in Qatar about those 5 and what they were going to be held there for a year, but I know there are concerns about them going back into the fight against us.
As far as you know, are they still under, quote, house arrest?
I think the year has not yet gone off, but at the end of a year, they will then be released.
Senator Barrasso, thank you very much for joining us from Capitol Hill.